India has been a major player in space for decades, but now it's taking its most ambitious leap yet. We're talking about sending its own astronauts into orbit on an Indian rocket launching from Indian soil. This is the story of the Gaganyaan mission.
So, here's how we're going to break it all down. First, what exactly is Gaganyaan? Then, we'll follow the incredible journey from launch to splashdown. We're going to look at the amazing tech that makes it all possible, meet the brave crew at the heart of the mission, and finally, really understand why this is such a giant leap for everyone.
All right, let's start with the basics. What is this mission that has everyone talking? Let's get right to the core of it.
You know, the name itself tells you so much about the spirit of this mission. Gaganyaan. It comes from Sanskrit and it translates to skycraft. How cool is that? It just perfectly captures this grand, almost poetic ambition to journey into the cosmos.
Okay, so here's the bottom line. Gaganyaan is India's very first human spaceflight mission. But what makes it a really big deal is that it's a homegrown effort. We're talking about a spacecraft, a rocket, and a launch, all developed by ISRO, the Indian Space Research Organization. This isn't just about sending people to space, it's about proving you have the complete technological power to do it all yourself.
So now that we know what Gaganyaan is, how is it all actually going to work? Let's trace the incredible journey, step by step, from the fiery launch all the way to a safe return home.
The entire flight boils down to these 4 critical phases. First, you have the raw, immense power of the launch, literally tearing away from Earth's gravity. Then, the crew gets to spend 3 days orbiting about 400 kilometers up there, doing all kinds of experiments. After that comes the really tricky part, re-entry, a blazing hot descent back through the atmosphere. And it all ends with a precision splashdown in the Indian Ocean. Every single step here is a massive engineering challenge that has to go off without a hitch.
You can't pull off a mission this audacious without some seriously impressive technology. So, let's geek out a little bit and look at the hardware that's making Gaganyaan a reality.
The ride to space is none other than the GSLV Mk3. Now, this isn't just any rocket. It's the most powerful one India has ever built. And it's even got a nickname, Bahubali, after a legendary hero famous for his incredible strength. And believe me, it needs every bit of that strength, because it's the only rocket in India's fleet that can hoist the Gaganyaan capsule into orbit.
And just look at these numbers. They really give you a sense of the sheer scale we're talking about. This thing is over 43 meters tall, weighs a staggering 640 tons when it lifts off, and it can haul a 10-ton payload into low Earth orbit. That is the kind of muscle you need to push humans beyond the bounds of Earth.
Sitting right on top of that beast of a rocket is the orbital module. This is it. This is home for the astronauts for 3 days. It's actually made of 2 parts. The crew module, which is the pressurized cabin where they live, and the service module, which has all the engines and power systems. It's basically their own tiny, self-sufficient bubble in the vacuum of space.
You know, as amazing as all this technology is, we can't forget what's at the very center of this mission: people. So let's talk about the incredible individuals who were chosen for this historic and, let's face it, incredibly dangerous journey. Just like the mission has a special name, so do the crew members. You've heard of astronauts and cosmonauts, right? Well, India calls its space travelers Vyomanauts. It's another beautiful word from Sanskrit, where Vyoma means space or sky. So they are, quite literally, travelers of the sky.
And becoming a Vyomonaut is, to put it mildly, not easy. The candidates are handpicked from the absolute best test pilots in the Indian Air Force. They go through the most grueling physical and psychological tests imaginable, and then they spend years in specialized training in Russia and India, everything from underwater simulations to high-D centrifuge spins to master every single detail of this mission.
This quote really gets to the heart of why this is also important. Sure, it's about inspiring the next generation, but it's also a massive investment in the future. The technology is being developed for Gaganyaan. We're talking advanced life support, new materials for heat shields. They don't just stay in space. They lead to incredible innovations and new industries right back here on Earth.
So let's zoom out for a second. What does this mean on the world stage? Why is this one mission being seen as such a massive, monumental achievement?
This single number says it all: 4. If this mission succeeds, India will become only the 4th nation in the entire history of the world to be able to send its own people into space.
I mean, just look at this list. This is one of the most exclusive clubs on, or maybe I should say off, the planet. For decades, it was just the Soviet Union, now Russia, and the United States. Then China joined them back in 2003. For India to add its name to this list, well, it's a powerful statement that cements its place as a top-tier spacefaring nation.
So, you see, Gaganyaan is so much more than just a single mission. It's really the dawn of a new era. It opens up incredible new possibilities for India, for sure, but it also expands the horizon for all of humanity. It really makes you stop and think. With more and more nations reaching for the stars, what kind of future are we all building together in that final frontier?